So I told you that the brainstorming was fun, but wait till you get into the prototyping. That's where the real fun begins. Prototyping, as I said, really does make your idea come to life. Now that you've chosen a couple of the solutions that you actually want to create with this low fidelity prototyping part of the process, you can then really tap into your creative confidence. So you'll need some prototyping materials. Just look around where you're working. You likely have many of them right there. Likely you have some Post-it notes already, or perhaps rulers or tape. You can really use anything that can make your idea come to life, if it's a physical prototype or even just a paper prototype. So gather your materials and gather your people, and let's get started. Prototyping, as I said, is about making your idea come to life. You want to be able to tell the story and create the experience for what you want others to see. And you want to be able to do that in a way that you can get feedback and begin to iterate on that first version of the prototype. So there's different kinds of prototypes that you can create. You could make a paper model if you were creating some sort of physical prototype for your users to see, and create a 3D image even of your prototype if you feel that you have the skills to do that. You might want to create a skit. You might want to pull together a number of folks to act out and role play the idea that you're trying to make tangible and get feedback for. You might create an elevator pitch. Say you're on the first floor and you've got 15 more to go, and you're in the elevator with the CEO of the company that you're working with to try and problem solve for. You've got just a few minutes to share this prototype. How would you do that? Perhaps you create a storyboard where you're telling the idea in a future state and you're making the idea come to life in a way that people can see over time. You can get really creative with your prototypes where you create an app or an electronic device in paper that you can have users write their experience on. By this example is using Post-it notes to create a user interface so that others can add to or take away from this particular prototype as they begin to use it and iterate upon it. Maybe you want to create a physical prototype. Just like I shared with you about my office space, this is an example where the company IDEO worked with an airline in an airport that's here local, and they created a user experience that was physical, and they had the users walk through that space and decide what they liked and what they didn't like. And they iterated this process until they landed on the final design. So let's take a look at what prototyping your idea really does look like.
That one. So as you know, in design thinking, we embrace the idea of rapid prototyping, which means we create a low fidelity representation of the idea to test. The idea is low fidelity because we don't want to fall in love with our idea before we get feedback about it. And also we don't want to present something too perfect to the testers so that they're afraid to tell us what might potentially be wrong with our ideas. So let's prototype.
Almost like a,
We need more, yeah.
a bird feeder or something.
And we need something that looks like, I'm a hand.
Right.
Here's one.